Chloe's consciousness returned in a soft haze, the air scented with jasmine. Her last memory was of an out-of-control electric scooter on a Brooklyn street, her own body flying through the air as she tried to dodge it, and then a sudden, overwhelming darkness. She'd expected to wake up in a public hospital, the air thick with the smell of antiseptic, to the sound of nurses' hurried footsteps and the beeping of machines. The reality, however, was starkly different. She was lying in an impossibly soft king-sized bed, surrounded by cream-colored walls hung with abstract paintings that were incomprehensible but looked outrageously expensive. Massive floor-to-ceiling windows revealed the dazzling Manhattan skyline. This wasn't a hospital room. It was more like a luxury penthouse ripped from the pages of Architectural Digest. For people were seated around the bed, their clothes and bearing a perfect match for the surroundings, as if they'd stepped right out of a Ralph Lauren ad. A middle-aged couple. The man in a well-tailored gray suit exuded an air of authority. The woman, dressed in a Chanel suit, was the picture of elegance and sorrow. Beside them was a young man, also in a suit, with a cold expression and a jawline as sharp as a marble sculpture. The last one, a boy who looked to be in his early 20s, wore a baseball cap, but even a simple t-shirt couldn't hide a face worthy of a magazine cover. "Who are you?" Chloe's voice was hoarse and dry. She shrank back warily, trying to bury herself in the pillows. "What is this? Did my organs turn out to be a match for one of them? Judging by this setup, they'll probably fetch a good price. Then again, these kidnappers are way too good-looking. They could debut as a boy band." "Don't be afraid, child." The elegant woman took her hand. Her own was warm and soft, and tears rolled down her cheeks like pearls from a broken string. "We're your family. I'm your mother, Eleanor Sterling." Chloe's mind went blank. "Mom? Isn't my mom in a small town in Florida, busy taking care of her 3 cats and a yard full of tomato plants? This isn't the right script." The stately man, Richard Sterling, spoke, his voice heavy with sorrow. 25 years ago, you were kidnapped from Central Park. We've been searching for you for so many years. You are our daughter, Amelia Sterling." Chloe maintained a confused and compliant expression on the outside, but inwardly, a full-scale Broadway musical was already underway. Wait, the long-lost heiress of a wealthy family? Could this plot be any more cliché? What's next? An imposter sister shows up to cause trouble, and the whole family reenacts succession. I know this playbook by heart. She noticed the cold-faced young man suddenly start coughing violently, as if he choked on his own spit. Meanwhile, the boy in the baseball cap quickly turned away, his shoulders shaking suspiciously, like he was trying to stifle a laugh. "This is your older brother, Liam Sterling," Eleanor introduced. "He's the current CEO of Sterling Corporation." Liam nodded at her, his expression still as cold as a glacier. "Wow, a classic domineering Wall Street CEO archetype. The looks, the aura, he's practically a walking hormone. But he looks so fierce. If I mess up, is he going to toss me into the Hudson River?" Liam's coughing grew louder, and an unnatural flush seemed to creep up his cheeks. "And this is your younger brother, Noah Sterling," Eleanor said, gesturing to the boy in the cap. Noah took off his hat, revealing a head of fluffy brown curls and a sunny face. When he smiled, his eyes curved into crescents. "Hey, Amelia. Or should I call you Chloe?" His smile held a hint of mischief. "Oh my God. Isn't that Noah Sterling? The indie folk singer who blew up on TikTok and then got signed by Hollywood? The new heartthrob. Oh my God, I'm his actual sister? I won't even have to buy tickets to be a groupie now." Noah's expression suddenly became complicated, like an overturned painter's palette. Eleanor wiped her tears, her voice full of apology. "We know this is all very sudden for you. The doctor said the accident might have made your memory of the last 20-odd years a bit hazy. But please believe us, we want to give you the very best of everything, to make up for all the time we've lost." Chloe said nothing, merely nodding obediently. "Make up for it? How?" "With money, obviously. Sterling Corporation. I think I've seen that name in Forbes. They must be worth tens of billions, right? Does this mean my life just switched from hard mode to unlimited money cheat code? I'll be able to afford 3 different flavors of oat milk lattes every day." Richard Sterling's expression turned quite peculiar. He cleared his throat, as if he wanted to say something. Chloe decided to take the initiative. She asked cautiously, Can I ask something? During the years I was missing, was there another girl in the family? According to the standard novel progression, it's time to introduce my nemesis, the fake heiress who stole my place. Bring it on. My bitchdar is fully activated. An almost imperceptible twitch pulled at the corner of Liam's mouth. Why would you ask that? Noah finally lost it and burst out laughing, only to be silenced by a warning glance from Liam, at which point he immediately straightened his face. Richard sighed, a complex emotion flashing in his eyes. Yes, there is a girl. Her name is Serafina. We thought she was you. She's currently in Bali for a charity event, and will be back next week. Serafina? Even her name sounds two-faced. A charity event? More like an influencer photoshoot for her Instagram. Alright, the villainess is about to enter the scene. Time to activate combat mode. Amelia must be tired, Eleanor said, suddenly standing up and interrupting the slightly bizarre conversation. We should let her rest. We'll come pick her up to take her home tomorrow. The family practically fled the room. Chloe faintly heard Noah's irrepressible laughter erupt from the hallway, followed by Liam's low-voiced scolding. She lay alone in the hospital room, a room larger than her entire old apartment, staring up at the crystal chandelier on the ceiling. This family is so weird. Everyone's reacting like they're watching a one-woman stand-up show. But whatever. From now on, I'm a New York Upper East Side heiress. Wait. According to the plot progression, am I the tragic heroine who gets showered with affection, then framed by the fake sister, misunderstood by her family, and finally put through the emotional ringer by the male lead? A dull thud echoed from outside the door, as if someone had just walked face-first into a wall. Chloe shook her head, ignoring it. She picked up the brand-new, latest model iPhone from the bedside table, expertly opened the browser, and began to search. Sterling Corporation, net worth. Whatever the plot was, figuring out how much of an inheritance she stood to gain was the real priority. Amelia, darling, this is your room. When Eleanor pushed open the double doors, Chloe was nearly blinded by the explosion of pink glitter that assaulted her eyes. A gigantic pink velvet princess bed with a headboard encrusted with Swarovski crystals, curtains of layered lace gauze, a huge cotton candy-like feather chandelier hanging from the ceiling. The carpet was high pile and, of course, pink. Every corner of the room screamed, I'm very rich, but my taste is stuck at age 12. Do you like it? Mommy had an Italian designer create it, modeled exactly after a princess suite, Eleanor said, looking at her expectantly. Chloe managed to squeeze out a sweet smile. I love it. Thank you, Mom. Help me. Is this the Barbie dream house come to life? Did the designer get their inspiration from a bubblegum overdose? As a woman approaching 30, am I going to get diabetes just from living in here? And with all these crystals and sequins, am I going to get insomnia from the glare when I'm trying to sleep? A suppressed gasp came from behind her. Chloe turned to see Noah biting his lip so hard his shoulders were shaking like a phone on vibrate. Liam, meanwhile, was staring up at the ceiling at a 45-degree angle, as if studying the aerodynamic principles of the feather chandelier. What's wrong? Chloe asked, blinking innocently. Noah quickly wiped away the tears of laughter from the corner of his eye. Nothing, I just think. You look so cute standing in this room, sis. Richard cleared his throat, breaking the awkwardness. Amelia, why don't you get some rest and adjust to the time difference? Dinner is at 6. Maria, the housekeeper, will come get you. After they left, Chloe immediately dove onto the princess bed, which swallowed half her body. She whipped out her phone, frantically took enough pictures for a 9-photo grid, and posted it to her social media feed with the caption, What's it like when your life is suddenly set to fairy tale mode? The moment she posted it, there was a knock on the door. Miss, the madam asked me to bring you some juice. A kind-looking woman in a proper maid's uniform walked in carrying a tray. Crap. I forgot to block my family. Is it too late to delete it? Wait, why is it kale juice? Is this stuff meant for human consumption? I hate these obnoxiously healthy drinks. If only I had an iced oat milk latte. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. The housekeeper, Maria, suddenly slapped her forehead. I grabbed the wrong one. This was for Mr. Richard in the gym downstairs. Your oat milk latte will be right up. I'll go switch them now. Chloe. What is with this family? I've only been here a day. How do they know I like oat milk lattes? Did they do a background check that was so detailed it included my coffee preferences? While Maria was downstairs, Chloe decided to conduct a bold experiment. She stared at the enormous walk-in closet, which was filled with all sorts of Chanel and Dior suits and gowns. She recited silently in her mind, if only there were a few loose, comfy hoodies. These clothes are so tight I can barely breathe in them. They're really not for a lazy person like me. Half an hour later, Maria returned with the oat milk latte. Following behind her were two people who looked like personal shoppers from a luxury boutique, carrying several shopping bags. Miss, the madam said these are some new casual clothes for you. See if you like them. Chloe opened the bags and found the latest Fear of God hoodies, along with several pairs of Lululemon yoga pants, all in her favorite oatmeal and dusty blue colors. This was more accurate than an Amazon algorithm. Could this family actually hear her thoughts? She decided to go bigger. At dinner, the Sterling family sat around a dining table so long it resembled a conference table. The atmosphere was as solemn as a business negotiation. Chloe cut into her filet mignon, her mind racing. I want a Hermes Kelly bag in cray with gold hardware, size 25. I want a Kelly bag. I want a Kelly bag. I want a Kelly bag. Eleanor suddenly put down her knife and fork, elegantly picked up her phone, and made a call, speaking in hushed French. Less than half an hour later, the doorbell rang. Eleanor took a signature orange box from the butler and handed it to Chloe with a smile. Amelia, a little gift for you from Mommy. Chloe's hand trembled, and her fork clattered onto the bone china plate with a sharp clink. Holy shit! They can really read minds? What kind of supernatural phenomenon is this? Did I get transmigrated into a wealthy family, or onto the set of an X-Men movie? Richard asked with concern. What's wrong, Amelia? You've gone pale. No, nothing. I'm just so surprised. Chloe forced herself to remain calm as she opened the box. Lying inside was the very bag she had just been repeating in her mind like a mantra. Calm down, Chloe, calm down. Could just be a coincidence. Yes, it must be a coincidence. One last test. I'm craving one of those greasy New York street hot dogs. The kind with so much cheese it pulls into strings, loaded with relish and mustard. Should we go to Central Park tomorrow? And maybe grab a hot dog from Gray's Papaya? To celebrate my sister coming home, Noah suddenly suggested, his face lit with excitement. Liam nodded, offering a rare agreement. I remember their pineapple juice is pretty good, too. Chloe was completely petrified. That settles it. This family can definitely hear my inner monologue. No wonder they've all been acting so weird today. The question now is, do they know that I know they can read minds? Should I call them out on it? Or should I play along and use this as my superpower? A strange silence suddenly fell over the dinner table. Noah shot to his feet. I'm full. I just remembered I have an audition tomorrow. I need to go over my script. I'm going to the study to deal with some emails, Liam said, wiping his mouth and also rising to leave. Richard pulled out his phone. Hello? What? An urgent matter at the office. In a blink, the enormous dining room was empty except for Chloe and Eleanor, who were staring at each other. Amelia. Eleanor began, hesitating. Here it comes, here it comes. It's showdown time. Should I make the first move or keep playing dumb? Just then the doorbell rang again. Miss Serafina is home, the butler called from the entryway. Chloe and Eleanor both let out a sigh of relief, as if a savior had arrived. A girl in a white bohemian maxi dress fluttered in like a butterfly. She looked like your typical Instagram travel blogger. Mom, I missed you so much. She threw herself into Eleanor's arms, but the moment she saw Chloe, her movements froze as if someone had hit pause. And who is this? This is Amelia, your sister, Eleanor introduced. Amelia, this is Serafina. A flicker of darkness crossed Serafina's face before she quickly masked it with a sickly sweet smile. Hello, little sister. It's so good to finally meet you. She extended her arms for a hug, and Chloe compliantly stepped into it. Hello, big sister. Pupils instantly contracted, corner of the mouth stiff. I can only give that fake smile a 3 out of 10 tops. Her palm is cold and sweaty. It seems our little princess is very nervous. I smell Byredo's Rose of No Man's Land. The same perfume Mom wears. Trying to create a sense of mother-daughter intimacy on purpose? Not bad. Eleanor let out a soft cough. Serafina pulled Chloe to sit on the sofa, asking affectionately, "So where did you live before, little sister? Is your lifestyle very different from ours? It'll take some getting used to." And here we go. The classic condescending trifecta. Inquire about my background, emphasize the difference between us, and imply I don't belong here. Chloe flashed an innocent smile. "I'm very adaptable. And everyone in the family dotes on me so much. Look, Mom just gave me a new bag." She said this while shaking the orange box by her side. Serafina's eye twitched, but she quickly regained her composure. "It's beautiful. But our family has a lot of rules. You'll have to learn them slowly." "Oh, so she's already trying to lay down the law? Watch how I counter this." I'll definitely learn everything from you, big sister," Chloe said, tilting her head and looking at her with an adoring expression. "For instance, did you touch up your makeup right before you came in? Your lipstick is a shade lighter than in the photo you took at the Bali airport. You're so meticulous, sis." Serafina's expression froze. "Didn't see that coming, did you? I deep dived through 3 years of your Instagram photos. In that street-style shot from the airport that got the most likes, you were clearly wearing NARS Dragon Girl. But now you're wearing a Tom Ford nude, trying to look all windswept and natural after your trip to cultivate that ethereal, above-it-all persona? Nice try." Eleanor suddenly stood up. "Serafina must be tired after her flight. Why don't you go upstairs and rest? Amelia, would you like to see the home theater?" "Yes." Chloe jumped up immediately, not forgetting to wink at Serafina before she left. "Good night, big sister. Make sure to wash your makeup off properly." Round 1 total victory. In the home theater, Eleanor asked, "Amelia, what kind of movies do you like?" "I'm fine with anything, Mom." Horror movies, Chloe thought. Perfect. I'll use this for the final test. If they actually put on a horror movie, I'll completely concede. Eleanor picked up the remote and pressed play. On the giant screen, the classic opening scene of The Shining appeared. Chloe felt her legs go a little weak. "All right, it's 100% confirmed now. But the problem has escalated. Do they know that I know that they can read minds? This is basically a real-life game of mafia." The theater lights dimmed, and the glow from the screen illuminated the scheming smiles on both Chloe's and Eleanor's faces. What Chloe didn't know was that, at that very moment, in the third-floor study, Richard, Liam, and Noah were gathered around a security monitor, watching the events in the home theater with great interest. Liam frowned. "Dad, isn't it a little creepy for us to be spying like this?" Richard's eyes were glued to the screen. "Shut up. Don't you want to know how Amelia is going to test us next?" Noah shoved a handful of popcorn into his mouth and said indistinctly, "I'll bet $500 that when the credits roll, she's going to suddenly scream into the air, 'I know you can hear my thoughts.'" On the monitor, Chloe was secretly Googling on her phone how to think without being detected and block brainwave signals. At 3 a.m., when Chloe slipped into the kitchen like a cat, trying to sneak a pint of Häagen-Dazs from the massive double-door refrigerator, she bumped into an equally sneaky Noah. "Whoa!" The two of them jumped back in fright, nearly kicking off a midnight horror scene. "Noah, what are you doing up in the middle of the night?" Chloe asked in a hushed voice, clutching her wildly beating heart. He held up a can of Coke and grinned. "Even Hollywood stars need to indulge a little. What about you?" "Jet lag." "Sort of," Chloe replied, her voice muffled as she shoveled a large spoonful of cookies and cream ice cream into her mouth. While enjoying her guilty pleasure, she complained as if offhandedly, "You know, I'm starting to think our staff has superpowers. This afternoon I was just thinking to myself that I wanted some cherries, and 10 minutes later, Maria brought me a huge bowl of them. Then tonight I was taking a bath and thought the tub was a bit small. And when I got back to my room, there were workers in my bathroom installing a new jacuzzi tub." Noah blinked his doe-like eyes. "Isn't that a good thing? It just means everyone cares about you a lot." "A good thing, my ass. This is basically 24/7 surveillance." "Wait a minute. If the whole family can really read minds, then what I'm thinking right now, he must..." Noah suddenly leaned in closer and asked conspiratorially, "Amelia, do you believe in things like telepathy?" Chloe's hand trembled, and her spoonful of ice cream splattered onto the pristine marble floor with a splat. Holy shit. Is he about to confront me about this? No way, I have to play dumb to the very end. I do, of course I do, she answered immediately, staring intently at the melting puddle on the floor. Like right now, I have a strong feeling that you, Noah, should go get a mop. Noah looked at her, a mischievous glint in his eye. Then he gave an exaggerated bow. As you command, my princess. As soon as he turned to get the cleaning supplies, Chloe immediately whipped out her phone to continue the search she hadn't finished last night. How to effectively block mind reading. The results were all forums for fantasy novels and superhero movies. Damn it. Am I seriously going to have to pull a Magneto and make myself a tinfoil helmet? Here. Noah returned not only with the mop, but also with a brand new pint of ice cream for her. As he mopped the floor, he lowered his voice and said, "Actually, I'm on your side." Huh. Chloe didn't quite process that. He ruffled her hair, grinning like a big kid. It's nothing. By the way, I'm taping a talk show tomorrow. Want to come hang out backstage? Backstage at a TV show? Doesn't that mean I can meet a bunch of celebrities? And get free snacks? Yes, yes, yes. Chloe nodded like a bobblehead, but then she immediately grew wary. Wait, this isn't some kind of prank show where I end up getting publicly humiliated, is it? Noah's smile revealed his perfect canine teeth. Don't worry. At most, they'll have you interact with the host a little from the audience, tell a joke or something. Interact? That's nothing. I won first prize at my old company's annual party for telling jokes. Wait, can he hear this too? Noah was already gone, humming a tune, leaving Chloe alone to stare at the unopened pint of ice cream, lost in a spiral of self-doubt. At the breakfast table the next morning, while reaching for the jam, Serafina accidentally knocked over the glass of orange juice in front of Chloe. Oh, I'm so sorry, sis. I didn't mean to. Let me clean that up for you. She fumbled for a napkin, her movements a clumsy display of innocence. Heh, the angle of that tilt, the precise amount of force totally calculated. The Academy owes you an Oscar. It's okay, sis. Chloe offered a magnanimous smile. At the same time, she thought, Serafina secretly used Mom's La Prairie Skin Caviar cream from the bathroom this morning, and she didn't screw the lid on tight. There's a little smear of the white cream on her cuff right now. Eleanor, who had been reading the newspaper, suddenly looked up, her gaze sharp as it landed on Serafina. Serafina, did you touch the skincare products on my vanity? Serafina's hand jerked, and the napkin fell to the floor. And no, of course not, Mother. Then what is this? Eleanor said, pointing to her cuff. Sure enough, on the cuff of her delicate silk dressing gown, there was a small suspicious smudge of white cream. Nice. Mom's reaction was so fast. Could she really be able to? Ahem. Richard cleared his throat loudly, cutting through the little tempest. The quarterly board meeting for the group is at 10 this morning. Amelia will be attending. This is your desk. On the top floor of the Sterling Group headquarters, Liam set Chloe up in a glass cubicle just outside his enormous office. The view was excellent. She could see into Liam's office with a glance, and of course Liam could see her at any time. Wow, floor-to-ceiling windows, a Herman Miller ergonomic chair, and a cabinet stuffed with imported snacks. Wait. Why does this spot feel like an exhibit at the zoo? Is it specifically for observing me, this rare specimen? Liam knocked on her desk, his tone flat. There's a project meeting for a new product at 9:30. You'll sit in and take the minutes. Okay, no problem. Chloe replied obediently, but she was inwardly beaming. Taking meeting minutes? Please. Back in the day, I got several months' worth of bonuses for the minutes I wrote for my old boss, all thanks to my brilliant summaries and elegant phrasing. In the conference room, a dozen executives in sharp suits were arguing, red in the face, over the marketing plan for a new energy drink. Today's young consumers only care about trending celebrities. We have to get the biggest star possible for an endorsement. The marketing director slammed his hand on the table, spittle flying. The PR head immediately retorted, celebrities are too risky. If they have a scandal, our brand image will take a major hit. I think we'd be better off with a few Olympic champions. They have a positive image and are more credible. As Chloe typed furiously on her laptop, she couldn't help but roast them in her head. Asterisk, these people have been arguing forever, and they're still missing the point. This drink's main selling point is natural electrolytes. Fast recovery. The target audience isn't star-crazed kids. It's the corporate drones burned out from their 996 and 007 work schedules, and college students pulling all-nighters to finish their papers. Asterisk. Liam suddenly spoke up, cutting through the heated debate. Amelia, what are your thoughts? The room fell instantly silent, and a dozen pairs of eyes shot toward Chloe. Asterisk, holy crap. No, I'm just an innocent tool, the person taking notes. Don't call on me. Asterisk. I think. Chloe forced herself to stand, her mind racing. Suddenly an idea struck. Maybe we could try a different approach. For example, we could do targeted marketing toward groups like programmers or designers. They often work late, they're under a lot of stress, and they're exactly the people who need to replenish their energy and electrolytes. Plus, the power of word of mouth in those communities is extremely strong. The conference room was so quiet you could hear the hum of the central air conditioning. Asterisk, I'm screwed, I'm so screwed. Did I say the wrong thing? These Wall Street elites must think my idea is completely outlandish. Asterisk. Go on, Liam said, a hint of inquiry in his eyes. Chloe took a deep breath and decided to go for broke, spilling out everything she was thinking. For instance, we could launch a story contest on tech forums or designer websites called My Worst Night of Overtime. The winner gets a year's supply of the product. Then we can package these true stories into a viral marketing campaign. It's low cost, spreads fast, and will strike a precise emotional chord with the target demographic. Asterisk, since I'm already talking, I might as well mention that variety show idea too. We could sponsor Noah's talk show and have him live stream a coding session. Every time he writes a bug, he has to chug one of our drinks. The entertainment value would be off the charts. It's guaranteed to trend on Twitter. Asterisk. After listening, Liam closed the folder in front of him and made his decision. We'll go with Amelia's plan. Marketing, get me a detailed proposal by this afternoon. After the meeting, while Chloe was still packing up her laptop, the marketing director came over, his face full of admiration. Miss Amelia, that suggestion to target programmers was brilliant, so precise. Have you done market research on this before? Ahaha, I know a little here and there. Chloe laughed awkwardly. Asterisk, market research, my ass. In my past life, I was a corporate drone driven mad by project deadlines. Asterisk. That afternoon, while making coffee in the break room, Chloe overheard two female colleagues gossiping. Did you hear? The new assistant is Mr. Liam's real sister. Really? What about Miss Serafina? They say there was a mix-up at birth. Shuh, stop talking, she's here. Chloe pretended not to have heard anything and walked back with her coffee. Bang, at a corner in the hallway, she collided with a solid wall of a man, and the scalding coffee splashed mercilessly all over his expensive custom-made suit. I'm so sorry. I'm really truly sorry. Chloe frantically pulled some tissues from her pocket, apologizing as she looked up, right into a handsome but unfamiliar face. He had seductive eyes and thin lips, and his whole demeanor screamed, I'm expensive and I'm dangerous. The man raised an eyebrow, watching her with amusement. So you're the long-lost daughter of the Sterling family, Miss Amelia? I've heard so much about you. Asterisk, who is this guy? He's got the looks of a cunning fox. Definitely bad news. Asterisk. As if reading her mind, the man's lips curved into a playful smile. He held out a business card. Vance Group. Julian Vance. A pleasure to meet you. An alarm went off in Chloe's head. The Vance Group? Weren't they the Sterling family's mortal enemy on that real estate project on the east side of the city? She forced a professional smile. Mr. Vance, hello. I'm very sorry about your suit. I'll cover the dry cleaning costs. He smiled meaningfully. No need. After all, we'll be family soon. Asterisk, family? What does he mean by that? Has that traitor Serafina already hooked up with their rival? Asterisk. Liam's cold voice suddenly came from behind her. Amelia, have you finished checking the data? He yanked Chloe behind him, and as his eyes met Julian's, the temperature in the air seemed to drop several degrees. Julian let out a soft chuckle. Mr. Liam, your sister is very Interesting. She's no concern of yours, Liam said, his face cold. He all but dragged Chloe away from the scene. The moment the office door closed, Liam warned her sternly, "Stay away from anyone with the last name Vance." What did he mean when he said, "We'll be family soon"? Chloe couldn't help but ask. Liam's expression darkened. Julian is pursuing Serafina. Holy cow. The fake heiress teaming up with the business rival. Isn't this a classic corporate drama plot from an American TV show? She's trying to pull a real-life The Departed *. Amelia, darling, are you sure you want to wear that? Eleanor's face was etched with worry as she looked at the modified black cheaphouse-style gown Chloe was wearing. The gown was elegant and unique, and most importantly, it wasn't suffocatingly tight like most evening wear. Of course, I'm sure. I specifically hinted to the stylist that I wanted this. It hides the little tummy I've gotten from all the milk tea I've been drinking, and I can move freely in it. It's perfect. I think it's special, Mom. Chloe did a little twirl. The girl in the mirror had an Eastern classical charm, yet with a modern clean-cut look. Tonight was New York City's annual charity gala, held at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. For the Upper East Side elite, this was not just a charity event, but a social battlefield. Inside the gala, the light from the crystal chandeliers was dazzling. The air was thick with perfume as glamorous guests mingled, their glasses clinking. With her arm linked through Liam's, Chloe felt like she had wandered into a real-life episode of Gossip Girl. Her inner monologue was running wild. The diamond necklace on that lady to the left. She's probably wearing a Bentley around her neck. And the real estate tycoon on the right? His hairline is more concerning than my bank account balance. Oh my God, and Serafina is wearing a pure white feathered dress today. Is she trying to cosplay a walking swan? Liam's steps faltered for a second. He leaned in and whispered, "Stop staring. Watch your expression." Chloe immediately reined in her wandering gaze and put on a proper smile. She quickly spotted her target in the crowd. Serafina was standing with Julian Vance in an inconspicuous corner. The two of them were pretending to admire a Monet on the wall, but their body language gave them away. "Liam, look at them," Chloe whispered. Liam handed her a glass of sparkling water, his eyes calm. "Let's just watch and see. And remember, don't drink any alcohol and don't leave my side." Just then, Julian seemed to notice their stares. He raised his glass in their direction with a provocative smile. As Julian turned, Chloe saw Serafina quickly slip a small, flash drive-like object into his suit pocket. The movement was so fast it was almost imperceptible. Holy crap. Corporate espionage caught in the act. That flash drive must have our company's final bid for the East Side project. Liam, look. Your dumb little sister is catching them red-handed for you. Liam's expression darkened instantly. He immediately pulled Chloe away, heading in the opposite direction. "Did you see that? She gave the flash drive to Julian," Chloe said urgently. "I know." Liam's face was grim. "But we can't make a move here. Without concrete proof, we'll only tip our hand." What proof do you need? Just read her mind. Wait a minute. Is this special ability to read minds something only I have? Are they just radios passively picking up my signal? As Chloe's brain spun with sci-fi level theories, Noah appeared out of nowhere and pulled her onto the dance floor. "Sis, help me." "Huh? What's wrong?" "See that host in the long red dress?" Noah said through gritted teeth as he led her in a clumsy waltz. "She's my ex-girlfriend. She won't stop pestering me to get back together. She's been on my tail for half the night." Well, damn. The corporate drama just turned into a romantic melodrama? This plot is getting complicated. Chloe immediately snapped into combat mode. As the woman in the red dress tried to approach them, Chloe accidentally stepped on the magnificent hem of her skirt. "Ah!" The host stumbled, and the wine glass flew from her hand. The deep red liquid painted a disastrous map across her expensive gown. "Oh, I am so sorry." Chloe blinked her innocent eyes and said in a sweet, apologetic voice, "I'm not very good in high heels. I'm so clumsy." The host was trembling with rage, but with so many eyes on her she couldn't make a scene. In the end, she could only glare as her publicist helped her off the dance floor. "Sis, you are the best sister ever." Noah was so moved he was on the verge of tears. "I am your actual sister. Thank you very much. Wait, where are Julian and Serafina?" Chloe scanned the room, but the treacherous pair was nowhere to be seen. On the way home, the atmosphere in the car was unusually tense. Liam suddenly spoke. "Starting next week, you're coming with me to all business negotiations." "Huh? Why?" "Your intuition is sharp," Liam said coolly, looking out at the city lights. "If it weren't for you tonight, we might never have known the data was leaked." That's because you elite types think you're above observing micro-expressions. Serafina looked so guilty, she might as well have had, "I'm the mole" tattooed on her forehead. Liam added, "By the way, there's an emergency family meeting tomorrow. Father wants to discuss your share allocation." Chloe nearly spit out her water. "What? Shares?" Liam's tone was as casual as if he were discussing the weather. 5% of the group's shares. That's 2% more than Serafina. Wait. Isn't this plot moving a little too fast? I've been back for less than a month, and I'm about to become a billionaire? This is all so sudden. The atmosphere in the Sterling family study was as tense as a UN Security Council meeting. Richard sat behind a massive mahogany desk, his expression grave. Liam, Noah, and Eleanor were seated on sofas on either side. Chloe stood in the center of the room like a soldier about to march into battle. "Amelia," Richard's voice was deep and commanding. "Tell us everything you know." Chloe took a deep breath and began her report. She had no direct evidence, but she possessed the most powerful weapon of all. Her inner monologue, and the secret that her entire family could hear it. "At the party last night, I saw Serafina give a USB drive to Julian Vance," she stated calmly. That USB drive contains the core data for our East Side project, including our reserve bid. Serafina isn't just doing this for money. She's doing it to prove her worth to Julian. She hates me because my arrival took everything from her. And she hates you all because she thinks your kindness to her over the years was fake. She wants to team up with Julian to beat Sterling Group in this bid and get her revenge on all of us. Silence filled the study. Richard's knuckles had turned white from clenching his fists. Eleanor's eyes were filled with incredulous sorrow. "This is just speculation." Liam's voice was still calm, but Chloe could sense the tension in his tone. "It's speculation, but it's also the most logical explanation." Chloe looked him straight in the eye. "Liam, can you honestly say you haven't suspected her?" Liam has suspected her for a while now. Last month, details of an overseas acquisition were leaked, causing Sterling Group a massive loss. All the leads went cold, but Liam knew that only a handful of people had access to such sensitive information. And Serafina just happened to have spent 2 weeks on that project team as an intern. Liam's pupils contracted sharply. "Dad," Noah couldn't help but speak up. "We can't let this go on. Serafina is a ticking time bomb." Richard was silent for a long moment before finally speaking. "Liam, initiate Plan B." "Plan B?" Chloe asked curiously. Is it some kind of business counterattack? Like, turning the tables on her by feeding her a fake bidding proposal? Liam glanced at her, the faintest hint of a smile on his lips. Plan B is to feed her a fake bidding proposal. Chloe was speechless. Over the next few days, the Sterling household staged a brilliant spy thriller of its own. Liam deliberately discussed a top-secret bid file with Serafina in the study, accidentally leaving it on the desk. Meanwhile, Chloe took on the role of the innocent, unsuspecting sister, even proactively asking Serafina for advice on office politics, to lull her into a false sense of security. Chloe's inner performance was flawless. Serafina is so nice. She's even teaching me how to read financial statements. I don't understand a single word, of course, but I have to act all impressed. Ugh. Why does Liam always make me deal with this boring data? I just want to go shopping for handbags. Whenever she had thoughts like these, Serafina, sitting on the other side of the living room, would flash a contemptuous smirk. Finally, the day of the public bidding for the East Side project arrived. The conference room was packed with all of New York's top real estate moguls. Julian Vance and his team sat across from Sterling Group, a confident, triumphant smile on his face. When the auctioneer announced the start of the bidding, Julian was the first to raise his paddle, offering a price just a fraction higher than the reserve bid Liam had prepared, a number that seemed perfect, yet not high enough to arouse suspicion. He shot a provocative, gloating look in the Sterling's direction. Liam, however, didn't even raise an eyebrow. He didn't bid. A small stir went through the room. The auctioneer confirmed, "Vance Group bids $5.2 billion. Do I hear any higher? $5.2 billion going once, $5.2 billion going twice." Just as the gavel was about to fall, another vice president beside Liam raised his paddle. "Sterling Group bids $5.3 billion. The room erupted. The color drained from Julian's face. He whipped his head around to look at Serafina, his eyes like daggers. Serafina was completely stunned, her face pale as she shook her head frantically. "That's impossible," Julian stammered. The price he'd bid was near the absolute limit for what Vance Group could afford, calculated based on the Sterling's bottom line. Sterling Group's sudden increase had completely destroyed his plan. If he countered, he would plunge his company into enormous financial risk. Sold for $5.3 billion. With the fall of the gavel, Sterling Group successfully won the East Side project. After the meeting, Liam walked up to a seething Julian Vance and said coolly, "Mr. Vance, thank you for the generous offer. But next time, I suggest you find a smarter partner." He turned and left, leaving Julian with a trembling Serafina and a crowd of reporters swarming in for the story. That evening, the mood at the Sterling mansion was far from celebratory. Serafina was summoned to the study. She was sobbing, tears streaming down her face as she desperately tried to explain herself. I honestly didn't know anything. Julian tricked me. Dad, Mom, you have to believe me. * Great acting. The tears come on cue. Too bad for her, our whole family has a psychic cheat code. We can hear exactly what you're thinking. And right now, you're thinking about how to pin all the blame on Julian so you can stay here. Richard threw a file on the desk in front of her. These are the bank records between your account and Julian's, along with the surveillance footage of you secretly copying company files. Richard's voice was ice cold. I gave you a chance, Serafina. Serafina's sobs died in her throat. She stared at the evidence, her face ashen. In the end, Richard called the police. As the officers led Serafina away, she didn't struggle anymore. She just fixed her gaze on Chloe, a look of pure venom in her eyes as if to say, "This is all your fault." Chloe calmly met her gaze. No. This is all because of your own greed and stupidity. Serafina's corporate espionage case ended with a 3-year prison sentence. The Vance Group, for malicious bidding and theft of trade secrets, was not only hit with a massive fine, but its stock price also plummeted. Julian Vance himself was sentenced to 7 years in prison on multiple charges. The story that had once caused such a stir on the Upper East Side finally came to a close. At the annual shareholders meeting, Richard Sterling officially announced the appointment of Amelia Sterling, Chloe, as the vice president of the group's newly established Strategic Development Department. The news sent shockwaves through Wall Street. A young woman who had only returned to the family less than half a year ago, with no business background whatsoever, was entrusted with such a significant responsibility. Of course, what they didn't know was that the Sterling Group possessed a secret weapon that no one could replicate. A mind-reading executive team that could turn an inner monologue into golden business ideas. Chloe's life had been turned upside down. She was no longer the freelancer living in Brooklyn, worrying about rent and bills every day. She had her own office, an endless pile of documents to handle, and a never-ending schedule of meetings. But some things never changed. For instance, during a crucial multinational merger meeting, as lawyers from both sides argued incessantly over a single clause, Chloe's inner monologue went something like this. God, this is so boring. They've been fighting over the placement of a comma for 40 minutes. I'm dying for a taco from that new Mexican place downstairs. I hear their guacamole is the best in all of New York. Liam, sitting beside her, suddenly cleared his throat and said to the opposing legal team, "Everyone, I think we need a 10-minute break. Also, I suggest we try the Mexican restaurant downstairs for lunch. I hear their tacos are excellent. Both teams looked as if they'd been granted amnesty, and the atmosphere instantly lightened. And that tricky clause was smoothly resolved after lunch. Another time, when Noah was mired in a PR crisis over a dating rumor and was looking utterly dejected, Chloe was at home watching a movie with him, thinking to herself, what's there to be so upset about? Just do a live stream, invite that rumored girlfriend over, and play video games together. You can both just hang out and make fun of each other while you play. Internet users these days love that kind of real, unscripted interaction. I guarantee you'll gain a ton of fans instantly, turning this crisis into an opportunity. Noah's eyes suddenly lit up. He leaped to his feet and hugged Chloe. Sis, you're a genius. The next day, the Noah's awkward game night with his rumored girlfriend live stream hit #1 on YouTube's trending list, successfully turning a PR disaster into a viral celebration. And so life went on in this strange and harmonious rhythm. Chloe gradually grew accustomed to the name Amelia, and to having these 4 family members who could eavesdrop on her innermost thoughts at any time. She no longer tried to block her thoughts, and instead began to enjoy this unique form of communication. One evening, the family had a rare get-together. They weren't talking about work. They were just sitting in the living room like a normal family, watching Noah's newly released movie. At the end of the movie, the protagonist, after enduring all sorts of hardships, finally found his way home. Chloe watched the screen, her eyes growing a little misty. Even though I'm not the real Amelia, and even though my life feels like some huge cosmic joke, it's so wonderful to have you all to be a part of this family. Thank you, my family. Even if you're always trying to hold back laughter at my inner rants, even if my eldest brother is always burying me in work, and even if Noah is always stealing my snacks, I really do love you all. The living room fell silent, with only the movie's end credits music playing softly. Eleanor quietly squeezed her hand, her own eyes red. Noah came up from behind and gave her a big hug. Liam cleared his throat softly and silently pushed a plate of cut fruit in front of her. Richard stood up, walked over to her, and gently ruffled her hair, his voice both soft and firm. We love you too, Amelia. Welcome home. Outside the window, the New York City skyline glittered like a river of stars. Chloe knew that this was her new home. A home filled with love, acceptance, and inescapable mental echoes.